I spent $30,000 to learn from Alex Hormozi and his team, not for vacation or some shitty mastermind, to sit in a room with people who actually built a business and to get the rawest, most dialed in breakdown of what it really takes to scale with a business. And I'll be honest, it wasn't what I expected. Most founders think they're stuck because their offer, ads, or lead flow. But the truth is, there's one thing holding 95% of entrepreneurs back, and it's slowly killing their business without them even realizing it. So in this video, I'm breaking down the $30,000 lesson that completely shifted how I'm building Remote Latinos, how I'm building my company, and more importantly, how I think about team culture, execution. And if you watch this video, you will change how you build your business as well. Let's get into it. Alrighty, let's dive in. So we paid Alex Hormozi $30,000 and we spent a couple days with his team. We learned a lot. I'm gonna give you guys the 10 takeaways that we gathered. Okay, so starting with number one, the big shift, the leadership problem. Most founders think they're stuck because of tactics, bad ads, low conversions. But what I learned is you don't scale by doing more, you scale by doing things better and leading better. And actually I learned this from Alex. He talked a lot about leverage. And one of the things he said is that leverage is not just by the one person taking more steps, okay, than you, whoever is ahead of you. Leverage is the person that's taking the step, okay, is doing it a lot faster. He's moving much faster. Okay, so this was pretty enlightening to me because it is all, at the end of the day, it all boils down to your leadership, especially when you start growing a team. Because this is another thing we learned from him is that your goal as the CEO, as the founder, and even maybe as an executive in the company is to build the people, and the people build the business. And I really started learning more about this and experiencing this over the last couple of years when I started removing myself from a lot of the parts of the business. I'm like, oh my goodness, I just have to build the people and they're going to provide the service. They're going to sell the service and they're going to fulfill the service, right? And of course, I'll still market, I'll still manage, I'll still do whatever I need to do, but that was very enlightening. Hormozi's framework forces you to think in systems, teams, and culture, not just hustle. A lot of people think that Hormozi is like super hustle culture, and yes, he does have some of that. But I would say what fascinated me is how systemized they have everything. I mean, even just like the experience of going to their office and you go through security and how they have everything just structured. It's so well structured. That was very, very impressive. Number two, clear vision. Okay, so the ideal, quote unquote, the ideal future set. This is something they've talked about a lot is what's the end of the tunnel, right? Because we always talk about like getting to goals, but like what does the next 3 to 5 to 10 years look like? And something that I learned from Layla was that she actually, she wants you to think about this, but she doesn't want you to die in this vision. Meaning like things change, life goes on, you never know what's going to happen. So you don't want to die, but you want to have at least an idea of where you want to be in 3 to 5 to 10 years, right? At least so you can work towards that, but you should not be thinking about that every single day, all day, because what's important right now is the present and the near future compared to the 5 to 10 year plan. Not that the 5 to 10 year plan is not important. Of course it is important, but there's a lot of things that are out of your control before you get to the 5 to 10 year plan. Leadership is impossible without clarity. The team doesn't know where you're going, you're going to lose them. So one of the things that you have to enforce as a leader is continuously talking about the mission, the vision, the core values, the good, the positive things. Because on a regular basis, your team members are already feeling a lot of the negativity, whether it's from clients, whether it's from hirings, whatever your industry is. You can be in the product-based business, service-based business. Your team's already feeling some negative. Your job as the CEO, as one of the executives, is to continuously pour onto your team as much as possible, specifically when it comes to the mission, the vision, the core values, the case studies, and the good that you guys are doing for the world. Okay? Hormozi has 7 qualitative descriptors for vision. So 1 is magnitude of impact, 2 market dominance potential, 3 simplicity and execution, 4 scalability, 5 retention mechanism, 6 competitive MOAT, and 7 founder fit. So each one of these you are already doing, in a sense. The question is, which one do you need more of, and which one do you need to start doing? Because maybe you're not even doing, for instance, maybe your market dominance potential is not there because it's so saturated, so the odds of you winning is slim. It's still possible, right? I'm not saying to move to a different industry, but it's something to look into, right? Another one is retention mechanism, right? Like what is the lifetime value of your clients? And last one will be the founder fit. Like, are you, the right fit is the founder at the end of the day. And what is the fit? What is the founder's position in this company? Because a lot of times founders are not very involved in the companies, right? Because they hire CEOs, they're very good at placing the right people, and then they're providing resources for their network connections and overall leverage. So that was something very, very interesting. Number 3, ruthless focus and priority setting. Okay, so phase-based execution. The more things you sell, the harder it is to scale. This is something that we learned because we actually cut down a lot of the roles that we used to fulfill for. We used to do 20 different roles for like 15 different industries. That is just way, way, way too many things, guys. That's way too many things. So we cut down to now 5, I think maybe 6 roles max, and we work specifically like, you know, a couple industries. So we're trying to cut that even more. We're just getting so much business from these industries that it's hard to say no to them. But even for me, and after listening to him, I was like, oh my God, I need to cut down a lot of the stuff that we're doing. So just overall having like a ruthless focus. Overall, what I believe a ruthless focus is not just your focus on a day-to-day basis and what you're executing on, but it's also the business. And a lot of times it's so easy to accept business from all different positions and industries, but you have to be able to say no. The more you say no, the more yeses you're going to get. It's pretty crazy. I couldn't believe it, but it is 100% true. All right, the next thing is hiring right, okay? This is something that blew my mind. They never... they'll never again, and by they I mean the acquisition team, never outsourcing media buying again. What I mean by that is they're forever moving forward are going to bring on a media buyer. Whether they have experience, whether they're going to train someone in-house, up to them. They usually look for someone with a little bit of experience. But they split tested it, and what they did, this is something very smart, is that they would hire a marketing agency, and they would run ads, they would get some results, and then what they told them is like, hey, look, month 3, month 4, instead of you guys running the ads, I want to pay you to learn how to do this and keep you guys as like support. So I'll still pay you guys. I just want to pay you a lot less, but I want to learn how to do this. That was pretty smart because a lot of people, number 1, don't want to learn it. But number 2, if you're going to learn it, why not learn for people that have gotten you results? And number 3, you're going to still pay them. It's not like you're not going to pay them anything. Their lifetime value on you is going to go to nothing. But at the end of the day, it's better to get paid for something than nothing. Right? So they're never outsourcing media buying. And they actually asked in the group, there was about 30 or 40 of us, they asked who here outsources media buying. And a lot of people raised their hand. They're working with an agency, they're working with a freelancer, and they said that they need to learn exactly what is happening right now, because until you have marketing in-house and you understand the marketing trends, you're always going to rely on someone to provide you leads. And at any point, the business could go the different direction. The business could go down. Something could happen, and now your entire marketing and lead generation is out. Where when you own the process and you own the media buying system and everything that goes along with it, it doesn't matter if someone quits, because you can just bring someone on and you already know what to do. And if someone was to quit, you can at least come in and replace them. So I found that very, very fascinating. Number 5, this is actually probably my biggest takeaway. Alex Hormozi and his team do not hire sales people with experience. I'll say that again. Alex Hormozi and his team do not hire salespeople with experience. They actually only hire green people that are charismatic, have the right energy, are coachable, right attitude, hungry, and overall they can pour into them and actually make them savages. I found that fascinating because so many people in the space, whether they're coaches, consultants, wherever, they always ask you and they always actually recommend to hire experienced salespeople. Meanwhile, Hormozi and his team do not do that. So if they don't do that, why in the heck would I do something completely different? So I think there's a medium. I don't want to find someone that's completely zero green because I don't have the exact systems and processes as Hormozi. But I also don't want to find someone that's like 10 years in the game because they're probably not coachable. And for you, this is something that they also talked about. It's a lot easier to train someone from scratch than having to retrain someone and, basically change their mindset and reshape their habits. That's very difficult, and it could take a long time, if at all. It might not even work. So that was a huge takeaway because we're actually looking for a salesperson right now, and I don't want to hire someone with experience like crazy, but I also don't want to hire someone super green. So we're looking for someone that has maybe that 6 months to a year experience. Obviously, they're still coachable, they're hungry, but they're not going to come in with this wealth of knowledge about about recruiting, because we do things very differently, and we look for someone that's a very, very, not only just knowledgeable. We do want some people to have knowledge, but someone that's much more important to us is culture fit. If you don't have the culture fit of what we are doing on a regular basis, this person is not going to fit into our company. So that was very, very impressive. So again, what Hormozi looks for: energy, mindset, coachability, charisma. These are things that are very impressive. And, big takeaway here is stop filtering by resume. Start filtering with raw traits, trainability, doing multiple interviews with this person, giving them a skill test of reading the script, doing role plays with them. Like, start thinking, how do the 7, 8, and even 9-figure companies hire sales reps? Because a lot of them are hiring at scale. They're hiring 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 sales reps, maybe more, while you're only hiring one, including myself. So number 6 is how to interview top talent. Okay, so these are to interviewing A players. So there's a few things. For instance, with Hormozi, when he screens media buyers, right? They go over, what is a bad offer? They're asking for a testimonial framework, finding leads in fake ad accounts. They want to make sure that the interview is not just basic in general, but they actually go really, really deep. They're not just asking surface level questions. They're actually assessing the exact role and how it matches with their company. Okay, it's a very, very dialed in interview process rather than the general questions that you would ask anyone, anytime, especially for A players, right? A players know that they're A players, number one. Number two, A players are getting interviewed by A player companies. So if you're interviewing them and it's like the most basic questions and it's like, this guy doesn't know anything, versus someone that's asking them much more in-depth questions and, questions that really make them think, man, a true A player is going to be much more aligned with that, because they're thinking like, the questions they're asking me, you have to be high level. You're not asking me these questions because you're starting out like your business yesterday. You know what I mean? So that's something that was also very valuable. Number 7, marketing is a foundational skill set. So I talked a little bit about this, but if you don't understand marketing, you're a liability in your own company. So if you don't know how to generate leads on a regular basis, whether it's for running paid ads, doing cold calling, doing organic marketing, whatever the case is, you're going to be consistently a liability. This is why people hire media buyers, but the problem is they're not hiring media buyers. They're actually outsourcing this. So they're not really learning the skill and the craft that it takes to actually generate leads for their company. So that was pretty fascinating, right? What founders need to learn: you can't hire what you don't understand. You can diagnose revenue problems. Your message will suck. Like, overall, it's just like you're going to continuously go through the same cycle over and over and over again. Instead, you want to actually learn how to do this, right? Some ways to learn is study case studies, run ads with your own money, reverse engineer winners, right? Another thing is like, pay someone to do this, like literally pay an agency, but then ask them to teach you how to do this, right? Maybe you have someone in your network that would be down to do this, that would be down to teach you. The best way, in my opinion, to learn how to do this is to learn from someone that's actually done it and actually pay them. So that was pretty enlightening. Using ChatGPT, there's hundreds of YouTube videos online. There's actually so much information online that you guys can learn it. The question is, will you actually take it? Will you actually learn it, or will you take it for granted? All right, number 8, sales is psychology, not pitching. So Hormozi's sales philosophy, I actually love this. So repeat the problem, people buy the highest pain point, use their past failures, sell the dream, not the process. Great sales, no objections, right? Because at the end of the day, and I would say more than just great sales, but it's more the pitch. If you pitch them and there's a ton of objections coming up, that means that the process wasn't actually completed correctly. And one of my favorite things here is people buy at their highest pain point, along with like emotion. Like, you want to create this empathetic connection with them. Also, being able to truly correlate with them and relate with them. But it was very interesting because for a very long time, I didn't realize how good of a salesperson Alex was. And what I mean by that is like really 2020, because I wasn't as familiar with his agency. Obviously I've heard of him. I come from the marketing world. And then he started posting a lot of sales videos in 2020, 21, 22. And I was like, dude, this guy knows his stuff like 100%. And he knows what it takes to actually buy someone. And at the end of the day, selling gym memberships is pretty difficult, because you're selling someone on a dream. You're not selling someone on something that they can make money from or something like that. Of course, if they feel healthier, they're making more money, blah, blah, blah. But ultimately, you're selling them on a dream. And that's very difficult, where you're selling someone lead generation. You can provide them leads within 1 or 2 days or within a week or two, and they can sell people and will make money back. So there's like it's a different mindset. So it made me respect his sales process even more, because again, selling gym memberships is not easy. Even if it's much, 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 much cheaper, it is still not an easy sale. So sales is all psychology. Number 9, culture isn't vibes, it's infrastructure. Okay, so most founders think culture is about having Slack channels. They don't do any meetings. They don't align with their team. They don't share wins. They don't communicate effectively, even on Slack. They have no town hall meetings once a month to gather how the month went. They don't have bi-weekly team meetings. That's what we do. We used to do weekly, but now we do bi-weekly. It's called WOW, Wins of the Week meeting. They don't do any of that, right? So because of that, you lack culture. And then really, here's the thing. Reality is culture is just these things. It's clarity, standards, expectations, feedback loops. Clarity, standards, expectations, and feedback. And this literally, when you can create this type of culture in your company, you're going to absolutely dominate. So what your team needs to know is what you value, the true core, what you value as a person. Okay, what you value, what your core values are not the same. So what do you value as a person, as a human, as a CEO? And then the core values of the company. What is the expected time for communication? What does it mean to be a great communicator? How success is measured? These are things that you absolutely want to be able to do on a regular basis and actually express them to your team, but also get them expressed back to you. And last but not least, the final takeaway. So the 30K was worth it. Okay, we learned a lot. We got aligned with the company, but really one of the biggest things was just getting clarity on our company and my alignment with my co-founder, because there was times where we were misaligned on our responsibilities and our day-to-day here. And my co-founder Esteban has he has a separate business as well, which is taking most of his time throughout the day. However, he knows that the opportunity with Remote Latinos is incredibly massive. So it was just alignment, and it was cool to see other businesses and what they're doing, what's working. Also simplifying a lot of our stuff. And also one of the biggest things that I didn't put in here, because we haven't quite done it yet, we're actually doing it this month, is we're going to recreate our entire VSL. So Alex and his team gave us like their VSL framework of how to recreate their VSL and just make it a lot more powerful. So that was very important for us. Obviously, continuously hiring internal talent and how to make sure they're executing as fast as possible. And then another thing that I learned is your top performer does not mean they can lead, right? So there's a reason Michael Jordan, he's the greatest basketball player of all time. He practiced. He had the right mindset. He was freaking cold-hearted. If you guys ever seen the documentary on Netflix, I mean, he was a freaking savage. However, as an owner, he's literally one of the worst owners. He's not accomplished anything, and it's almost like he doesn't know anything about basketball. It's really fascinating. But it shows you just because you're a great performer doesn't mean you're going to be a great leader. And that was something that I've taken away, and I learned a lot. And just we redid a lot of our leadership team, because at the end of the day, your top executioners need to stay as your top executioner, and then a leader needs to know how to execute, but they don't need to be a top executioner. And it's a very weird mindset to be in, because you want to reward your top people, but sometimes rewarding them by moving them into leadership role is actually diluting their abilities, and it's literally hurting the company more than helping them. So that was a humongous takeaway. Anyways, guys, if you're looking to hire an A player, whether it's an appointment setter, a cold caller, a closer, I mean, you name it, we can place it, especially in the sales and marketing departments. If you go to remotelatinos.com and you schedule a call with our team, we'll give you a $500 discount if you watch this video, and we'll get started. And hopefully within the next 1 or 2 weeks, we'll have you on interviews that, I'm recording this video. It's April 14th. Within the end of the month, potentially early May, you're going to have that A player that can come in and make a difference in your company from day one. So again, go to remotelatinos.com. Let's chat about what your needs and wants are, and let's help you hire your next Rockstar Remote team member. I'm on your blog. Thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.